Outside an old chapel, the night was very quiet. The chapel was on the edge of the small town of Oaxaca. It had been closed for many years. People said it was cursed. Nobody wanted to go near it, not even during the day. On this night, a stray dog came close to the chapel. The dog was thin and hungry. It sniffed the ground and looked at the dark building. Suddenly, the dog started to bark loudly. Its barking was not normal. It was barking in fear. Its tail went down and its body was shaking. The air became cold. The wind stopped. The moonlight on the chapel looked strange. Then, from the black door of the chapel, a shadow came out. It was not a normal shadow. It moved like smoke, but it also had a shape like a person. The dog growled, but it was scared. The shadow moved around the dog like it was playing with it. Suddenly, the dog's body went up into the air. It was lifted as if by an invisible hand. The dog cried and kicked its legs, but nothing helped. The shadow took the dog inside the chapel. For a moment, there was silence. Then came the sound of the dog screaming and scratching. The sound was terrible. Then it stopped. Everything was quiet again. A few seconds later, the door opened by itself. The dog's body was thrown outside. Its fur had turned white. Its eyes were open, but there was no life in them. The shadow went back inside and the door closed. The people of Oaxaca knew the story of this chapel. Long ago, a nun had lived there. People said she became angry with God and started to do bad rituals. She had turned evil, and her spirit stayed in the chapel. Since then, nobody entered. Even animals that went inside never came back alive. A few days later, 3 college students from Mexico City came to Oaxaca. Their names were Santiago, Javier, and Ricardo. They came with their teacher and a group of other students. They stayed in a hotel. The first day was fun. They visited markets, ate food, and saw old buildings. But at night, they felt bored. "Man, this trip is so boring," Santiago said. He was lying on his bed. "Yeah," Javier agreed. "The teacher tells us what to do all the time. Go here, don't go there. Eat now, sleep now. It feels like we are kids." Ricardo looked out of the window. He was the quiet one. "Maybe they just want to keep us safe," he said softly. Santiago laughed. "Safe? Come on, Ricardo. We need to sneak out. We can have our own fun." Javier smiled. "I'm with you. Let's go." Ricardo did not want to, but his friends convinced him. They put on their jackets and left the hotel quietly. The streets were empty. The air was cool and the moon was bright. They walked and talked, feeling happy to be free. After a long walk, they reached the outskirts of the town. There they saw the old chapel. "Wow," Santiago said. "Look at that. It's creepy but beautiful." The chapel stood tall and broken. The windows were dark. The cross on top was tilted. Vines grew on the walls. The place looked dead. Javier looked at it with interest. "It looks like no one has been here for years. This must be very old. Let's go inside." Ricardo stepped back. "No, we should not. This place feels wrong. We can come back tomorrow when it's light." "Tomorrow? No way," Santiago said. "The professor will not let us go anywhere tomorrow. This is our chance. Night or day, what's the difference?" "Yeah," Javier said. "We have phone flashlights. This will be an adventure." Ricardo was afraid, but he followed them. Inside the chapel, the big wooden door creaked when they pushed it. The smell inside was bad, like wet walls and old wood. Dust was everywhere. The floor had cracks. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. They walked slowly, using their phone lights. Bats flew out, making Ricardo jump. "This place is really old," Santiago said. "The bats live here now." Ricardo hugged himself. "I don't like this. Something is wrong here. Let's leave." As he turned to go, something grabbed his leg. He screamed, "Help! Something grabbed me!" Javier shined his light and laughed. "It's just a rope, Ricardo. Don't be so scared." Santiago also laughed. "You didn't want to come, and now you are scared of a rope? Come on." They went deeper inside. The air became colder. They could see their breath. Then the old lights in the chapel started to flicker on and off. "How can the lights work?" Ricardo asked, his voice shaking. "There is no electricity here." They ran to the door, but it slammed shut. They tried to open it, but it was locked. "How?" Santiago shouted. "It was open before. Who closed it?" The nun appears. Then they saw her. A nun stood at the end of the chapel. Her clothes were torn and covered in blood. Her skin was white and her eyes glowed red. "What is that?" Santiago screamed. "Run!" Javier yelled, but the nun vanished. They turned, looking everywhere. Suddenly, they saw Ricardo on the floor. His skin was burned, his face pale, his eyes red. He crawled like an animal, his movements strange. His mouth opened, and a voice that was not his own spoke. "You should not have come here." His face changed. Sometimes it was Ricardo, sometimes the nun. His tongue grew long like a snake's. The two friends screamed and ran to a corner. "Please let him go. We didn't do anything to you. We'll never come back." Santiago cried. The nun smiled through Ricardo's face. She walked toward them. She touched Santiago's wrist, but suddenly she screamed in pain and pulled back. Santiago looked at his bracelet. It was a sacred bracelet he had from a Sikh temple. The bracelet glowed faintly. The nun hissed and disappeared into black smoke, leaving Ricardo unconscious. The priest. At that moment, an old priest appeared at the entrance. His face was serious. "You think you can escape her?" he said. "No one can. She kills even animals that come here, but tonight may be different." The nun appeared again. She grabbed Javier by the throat, lifting him off the floor. He choked, kicking his legs. "Santiago, run!" Javier gasped. "She can't touch you. You have sacred power. Run!" But Santiago shouted, "I will not leave you." The nun's nails cut Javier's neck. Blood dripped, and she licked it with her long tongue. Javier's face turned red as he struggled. Santiago cried. He held his bracelet in one hand and his small ceremonial dagger in the other. With all his strength, he shouted, "Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh, Jo bole so nihal sat shri akal." He ran to the nun and placed the bracelet on her hand. At the same time, he pushed the dagger into her chest. The nun screamed. Black liquid came out. She let go of Javier. The priest started praying loudly. Holy water splashed on her. The chapel filled with bright light. The nun's scream became softer. Her black shadow came out and flew into the statue of Jesus. The end of the curse. The priest smiled. "You did it. Your courage freed her soul. Your friends will not remember this. You must leave now. Never speak of this night." The boys left. Ricardo and Javier were weak but alive. The next morning, they woke up in the hotel as if nothing had happened. They remembered nothing. Santiago remembered everything until he saw the priest again. The priest smiled and sprinkled holy water on him. Suddenly, Santiago forgot too. The chapel was gone. Only an empty field remained. The people of Oaxaca knew that something had changed. They were free from the evil nun forever.